In our previous video on Pirate Software, we discussed the criticisms levied against him for the programming in his game Heartbound. However, just a few days after that video was published, he would be accused of faking his engagement on Twitch, allegedly collaborating with his moderators to take advantage of Twitch's hype trains, a feature that Twitch has where as more and more donations come in, the hype train gets bigger and bigger, incentivizing more support. The moderator also revealed in the DMs that he was donating under an alt account and sending messages pretending to be someone else. Pirate Software himself publicly acknowledged the drama and denied any allegations of him working with his moderator, instead saying that his moderator Khronos is a grown man who can do what he wants and it's not against Twitch TOS to donate to a streamer you work for. Further messages from Pirate Software's Discord server were revealed showing that he actually paid all of his staff members, including Khronos, over $2,000 as a reimbursement from the stream, giving back 50% of the money made from the stream to his staff. Welcome to the internet versus Pirate Software's hype train scandal. To start, I'd recommend you watch Quinthio's video if you haven't already. It goes into detail on these messages. It's linked in the description. But to get into it, it starts off when Guy tweets out, Pirate Software accidentally revealed his DMs with Khronos during the April 1st Twitch Giga Train, showing that they were boosting it themselves. This is why the stream is unavailable to watch. And it's a screenshot from an old Pirate Software VOD, and if we zoom in and look at the DMs, it's between Khronos and Pirate Software, where it starts with Khronos saying, "Aight," and Pirate replies, "Let me know if you do. Bits is going to be the best way to do it due to the return if you need to save it." And Khronos says bits rather than T3s, and Pirate says T3s might be better, don't know. Bits is 82% return when you buy them in bulk. Have you bought any yet? And Khronos replies, I've done 100 T1s on my personal, ready to do 40 T3s on an alt. Can do bits instead or both. Did 50k bits at 20 seconds left. And Pirate says, okay, what is the alt account? And Khronos replies, Serendipitous Bean. Where's the beef? Didn't mention this to the mods either. Now the challenge is to clear the queue. Then Quinthio replies to this thread by saying, hey, where were you able to find this? Would like to get some more info on this. And Guy says, it's my own screenshot from the stream, ex-subscriber. Then Quinthio asks for proof, and again, this is in his video linked in the description. But Khronos, the other person in the DMs, replies to Quinthio by saying, you could have asked me about this one had you reached out. I've spoken about this before, but I guess the truth isn't as compelling. Khronos7 on Discord. VOD was removed to prevent a 2025 repeat of people watching the 2024 video and messaging donators, myself included. And he continues to reply, I said this before, in January during the WoW drama, people contacted me and others about donating during the hype train record in 2024. This year I did less from main and I did some on an alt. Removal of the VOD was, if I recall correctly, to prevent people harassing donators as before. And Blank replies, this doesn't change the fact that Thor was coordinating with at least you to artificially extend the hype train. The VOD can be deleted for any number of reasons and it doesn't change the substance of what's happening. And Midnight replies, I have literally seen countless streamers drop mega bombs of gift subs on their own channels. What does it matter? Like seriously, Khronos goes to Thor from the look of things to ask which is best, and you call that scummy? Move on and drop it. And Khronos replies, it's literally such a nothing burger, attaching more DMs between him and Pirate, where it starts with Khronos saying, hello, do you by any chance have a 2024 and 2025 version of this? Or should I ask Shay? And Pirate says, ask Shay, and then the context before the I'd message here at the bottom, where Khronos says, okay, so, I've already dropped 100 T1s, so like a third of last year. But as I said when we discussed all of those weird AF messages sent around the community in January, I'm going to switch to my alt in case I want to drop more. If I do drop more, I'll be dropping them at the end of a level timer, the 30-second mark for example, because the community always tries to last second it and Twitch is lagging, so that's a recipe for disaster. Out of interest for when I stream in May, what's the best way for people to take part in hype trains? And it does show edited here at the bottom, but then Pirate Software replies by saying, if it's about to lose, sure. And then Khronos says, aight. Harmful Opinions ask for a hover clip of that edited, please, where you can mouse over it and it shows the time it was edited. And as of now, there is no reply from Khronos, and the response is just these replies. Tony replies to Khronos with this screenshot on the caption, and you're such a liar. Oh, right. Didn't think someone would go get the logs, right. You acted like someone else and a friend of yourself. So delulu. Bye, liar. Attaching this donation from Serendipitous Bean, which instead of reading it, Anarchy Studio actually tweets out the clip of the donation going through on the stream VOD, so I'm just going to play that clip of the donation.
Serendipitous Bean with 50,000 bits said IRL friend of Khronos and excited that they are now free from corporate.
I know.
Love your stream and what you do for people here. There aren't many cool or supportive streamers left once they get big like this. Stay cool, bud, and tell Khronos that Ben sends their regards.
I'm sorry you had to know Khronos in real life, just like me.
500 bits said when is Yar pregnant man going to be real?
No.
Steve
Proudest Degenerate also then screenshots the DMs and tweets it out, saying, so it turns out that Pirate Software got his moderators to keep his hype train going by having them gift subs and gift bits when he broke the hype train record. Cool. And then Pirate Software himself replies to this post by saying, nope, Khronos used his own money to do this and asked if it was okay to do so. He wasn't paid for this or told to do it either. He's a grown-ass man and can spend his money in whatever way he chooses. You can hate me all you like, but going after my staff is a shit tier behavior. NOP Proudest Degenerate replies, I do not hate a single person, especially not you, but I don't spend my time discussing what I'm going to do with my money with my boss, especially not something that directly influences others by potentially spending money that benefits my boss. However, you open the door to all of this by being incapable of admitting you made a mistake playing WoW, because nobody would have dug this deep if you had just said, I'm sorry dog, I didn't want to lose my character. And Dr. Sherlock replies, oh my god, shut the fuck up you insufferable piece of shit. Jesus. Grow the fucking hell up you mid-witted moronic man-child. You opened the door to all of this. Give me fucking break. Get a life. And Daniel replies, Pirate is magnitudes more insufferable than any of his detractors. I'll stop hating him when he stops acting like a grade A hypocritical C. He won't ever, as he has demonstrated incredibly consistently. Young Oak replies to Pirate's original reply by saying, quick question, did the 82% apply to your perspective instead of Khronos's in this conversation then? Confused by the wording if not. And Pirate replies, this is something I talk about with the community all the time. If you purchase 25,000 bits, around 82% of your purchase ends up making it to the streamer, and as such pushes the hype train more. It's not secret info, it's basic math. He wanted to push the train, so I let him know. As I always let everyone know, the best way to do so. At the end of the day, it's his money. Nobody was told to do anything, and he's his own man and can do what he wants. And Harmful Opinions replies, yes, that last part is actually partly why it's weird. He asked permission and you, in return, asked him to let you know if he does. When that chunk of conversation becomes public knowledge, it creates an appearance of impropriety. I don't believe that you don't understand this. It's very easy to infer an end from what's been shown, when for the reason you just outlined, this is not a normal behavior. Sorry for the multi-tweet, but note as well that you appear to have given him conditional permission per his screenshot, meaning your tweets here about him being a grown-ass man free to do as he wishes can be seen as a lie about your perspective on the matter. Keep talking though, showing a DM of Pirates telling Khronos that we read earlier where he says if it's about to lose, sure. Chudlogic quote tweets Proudest Degenerates a post by saying, if as Pirate Software claims this is no big deal and normal, why did Khronos do it off an alt account? And Biggest Dickest replies, Chud, it was to avoid getting harassment for donating through his main, which is why he also donated from his main and claimed to be an IRL friend of himself on his alt, thereby making himself a target for people who would want to fuck with Khronos. Yeet then tweets out this clip with the caption, Pirate Software responds to the viral Khronos, his mod, hype train clip.
Like, that's been a public thing forever. I think I even talked about it on there. That's against TOS, though? No, it is not against TOS. It is absolutely not against TOS to have somebody use their own money to buy subs and bits for the channel if they want to. That in no way was triggered by me, nor was he compensated for that or reimbursed for it. That is not against TOS. So it's a shit joke at this point. Just because you heard it on YouTube doesn't mean it is. Yeah. In fact, I guarantee that you could go to thousands and thousands of communities across this entire platform and find lots of different moderators supporting the stream. Do you know why? Because moderators are generally the first fans of the stream. That is how that works in every community on this platform. And people somehow don't understand that because you're blinded by your dislike of me. And I understand that you're upset at me, but you have to stop making shit up to be mad about. It's stupid at this point.
And Lord Draconolus replies, where's the lie? He's 100% correct here with everything he said in this clip. Nathan replies to the clip by saying, I understand now my community doesn't like this, and I apologize for that, and will no longer do this in the future, regardless of the legality of it. How hard is this? And Lucianos replies, because his community understands the whole situation and is not asking for an apology. It's the crazed tourists demanding an apology they don't deserve and aren't entitled to, no matter how entitled they act. This clip also gets posted to LSF by Gaben is pretty cool, and Nicholas Chubb replies, based on the video, it seemed like he was probably getting reimbursed because he mentioned the 82% or whatever in Discord. Plus, it's weird he had Khronos go on an alt to do it so the chat wouldn't know. Would be nice if he actually addressed what people were saying, but that's just how Pirate deals with the criticism, I fear. And he edits his post saying, it appears he mentions the 82% in his tweets, which I did not read before posting, but no mention of why Khronos used an alt still. And Jesus replies, he's a textbook narcissist. I clearly didn't do it, and if I did do it, it's fine. And if you're still complaining complaining, it's because of this irrelevant reason I just made up. Insane behavior. And Blowsight replies, they claim it was from an alt because contributors to Pirate's stream were getting hate from randoms and DMs for supporting the clown stream. But the way the dono message itself brings up Khronos and pretends to be his friend and talks about him is just weird AF. And Disposable Account says, insane how he has his own mod glaze him like that, and then attaches the dono message. And MF Zora Reddit replies, Khronos literally even said the other mods don't know. If what they were doing was legitimate, why all the secrecy? Why delete the VOD? And Sing Silly Songs also says, why'd he ask the mod not to tell the other mods though? Why he also have the mod do it on an alt? Yeah, what he said in the clip isn't wrong, but that's not what people are dunking on him for. And M3 Jung Mags replies, you're being too rational when talking about this idiot. Pirate Software is fluent in lies. Soap250 replies, I don't even understand. He's finding his own hype train? What's the point of even that? And Cock and Balls replies, ego. Luidsis replies, a minute long and no mention of Blizzard? That's crazy. And Witty says, but did you know he was the first second-gen Blizzard employee? Dexterdo also makes a tweet about the situation, showing that Pirate Software has responded to the claims of his record-breaking Twitch hype train being faked. And Nostarachi replies, he says all his mods are his employees though, paid and have full benefit packages. Is this not the same as an employee taking their paycheck from a strip club and then going into the club and spending it all? Not against TOS maybe, but still kind of odd. Kyle replies, this is the same guy against Stop Killing Games by the way. Tyler LaRocca says, y'all are just getting weird for this straw man at this point. Just say you don't like him and move on. And on Bitcoin says, faking voice, faking record, breaking hype train. Self-glazing to the max. ChudLogic then tweets out this clip with the caption, Pirate Software's mod and chief cocksucker Khronos does this bizarre content where he aggressively responds to unban requests for Pirate Software and sometimes claims accounts will be banned by Twitch. Loser behavior.
Yeah. What is it? To be honest, what a waste of a name. That name will become available soon. Just you wait, chat. That one will be available soon.
ChudLogic then continues to tweet, this Khronos guy is possibly the most wretched, pathetic Twitch mod in history. It is outrageous for Pirate Software to complain about people coming for his staff when this is how he acts on his public platform.
It's going to be a slow go through because things are ramped up and the people who are now spewing shit are just the really rampantly abusive ones. So again, what you do here is you basically just say, this is what it was, so this is what they did, and then explain why it's terms of service breach. This is what I tend to do, and this is why I have a 95% threshold. Anyone I report gets banned. Because I'm saying what they've done and what's terms of service breaching inside that section. So they can objectively review it and see that this person with the 2018 account, it might be a bot, but it won't be a bot or an alt that's usable anymore.
And Dennis the Menace replies, Pirate Software's descent into his new lolcow status continues. Captain Crashout says in our members-only Discord, I don't think Jason gets enough hate. I rewatched the conversation between Pirate Software and Dr. K a few days ago, and it's crazy how Dr. K almost made Jason seem like a real human being instead of a bundle of narcissistic tendencies spawned from nepotism we know him to be. I don't know if he can rehabilitate his image at this point, but if he genuinely accepted fault when confronted with proof and apologized for being an ass in the heat of the moment, all of these dramas would have blown over immediately. But the one crucial thing he lacks is humility. Bitter Lee says in our members-only Discord, yeah, the dude acts like he has never been humbled. Dude is taking this sense of popularity / power he has from streaming to such a crazy level it's insane. He can't even say sorry for stuff that anyone else would in his position. I don't think it's inherently wrong to accept donations from your staff. I employee purchase stuff from work all the time. It becomes weird when you're encouraging the mod to give their boss money for a hype train. Then it becomes gross when you encourage it with the promise of reimbursing. Still, it defeats the whole purpose of a hype train, artificially extending it so he can have another thing he can boast about. The fact that the message was like, oh, I'm a friend of the mod, who actually was the mod, makes me believe that there was a deal and the mod was going to get their money back. Then he attaches this gif of Pirate Software saying, I hate you internet, and captions it, him when the whole internet asks him to apologize for something small, and Captain Crashout replies, Khronos pretending to be someone else and Jason going along with it is at the very least cringe and weird. Iron Bottom Cheek Cheeks also posts Quinthio's video on the situation on the R YouTube Drama subreddit, entitled that Pirate Software got caught faking the Twitch hype train, may have broken Twitch guidelines, and Archer Brother replies, "So is just about everything about this dude fake? It's just a domino effect at this point. One thing after the next is revealed it is fake." And Choppy Tater says, "Did he even work at Blizzard?" And Immortal Olive replies, "Depends. Do you think doing QA and being terrible at it, his words not mine, counts as doing work?" And Virtual Announcer replies, "Seems like Pirate Software was just George Santos all this time." And Thunderwolf says, "I never said I worked at Blizzard, the game company. I worked at an ice cream stand called Blizzard." Chosen Twice replies, "I'm actually starting to wonder how myself, or anyone really, became fans of this dude in the first place." And Virtual Announcer says, "Deep voice speaking authoritatively, not saying or and being a force of positivity, at least outwardly, can go a long, long way." Now, these screenshots are also from Quinthio's video, which again will be linked in the description. He does a full interview with Legal Mindset going over these, but he attaches messages from Pirate Software's Discord, one from before the hype train and one from after, that give a little bit more insight into the case. First, before the stream, Thor posts in his Discord, "At everyone, the yearly Giga Train will begin on 1st of April 2025. Our previous record in 2024 was level 106 at 47%. It was beat on January 1st with a level 111 at 55% train. If you would like to take part in this, I will see you there. I also have a surprise that I've been keeping from the team until now. Over the last couple of months, we've had to deal with an insane amount of moderation work. What the team does allows this place to be as cool as it is, and I want to recognize that this year. 50% of the Giga Train will be given as a bonus to all of the staff members outside of myself. For those that don't know, the moderators and other members are full-time salaried employees. They also receive medical, vision, dental, and life insurances. This bonus is in addition to their base pay. Thank you all for an amazing year, and I hope to see you on this glorious April Fool's Day." Then the second message is from after the stream, where Pirate says, "Got all of the numbers from the Giga Train. You guys amassed a total of $75,000. It was slightly less, so I rounded it up. Half of the Giga Train comes out to $37,500. We currently have a staff size of 15, not counting me, so this is split evenly for all staff members comes out to $2,500. This bonus will be applied to everyone in the org outside of myself. The payments will go out at the end of the month. For the other $37,500, it will be applied towards the ferret rescue. I'm putting together all of the cash to make sure we have enough for construction. Still waiting on the contractors and county to come to terms. Thanks for everything you do." Again, Quinthio's video is in the description, but some people responded to this, like Mr. Obvious, who tweets out, "It looks like Pirate Software engaged in bit farming/scamming to boost his stream numbers, as well as what looks like shady business practices/money laundering. This likely violates Twitch's TOS and potentially the law. Oh, and Khronos pretended to be a lawyer, which is illegal." And he attaches this comment from Butterbees, which says, "The bits scam is pretty simple, IMO. Khronos buys 25,000 bits for 308. Jason's LLC or Corp gets 250 and is only out $58. Khronos is paid back through his paycheck. The LLC or Corp can write off the 308 from its profits. At a rate of 15%, this would save $46.20, bringing the total to $11.80. It would make sense if Khronos were based in the UK, because the LLC or Corp would be exempt from any employer withholding taxes because he would be considered a non-resident alien employee. The only unknown is how much extra Khronos would owe in taxes, if any at all. Any difference could simply be given to him with crypto to avoid farther taxes. So effectively, Jason's LLC could gift Jason 25,000 bits for $12. It inflates his stream, breaks records, encourages others to donate, and strokes his ego. Edit, I'm not implying this was done just to save a few bucks on a one-time thing. He makes enough money that it wouldn't matter. But based off the conversation with Khronos, this strat seems to be a common occurrence." And Mr. Obvious continues the thread by saying, "And this is just a hunch, but 90% certain that all of his donations to charity is literally just him taking any donation money and funneling/laundering it through his own ferret rescue. To be honest, given his furry history, I'm concerned for the ferrets. But long story short, nothing about this guy is real. Everything about him is fake. Very curious about the paper trail of that donation money." And Cheshire Hex replies, "This is a blatant lie though. How is everyone falling for this?" Shout out to our tier 3 members, internet representatives Kiko, Salsaud, Kodos Bandito, and Captain Crashout. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I'll see you all in the next episode.